Oh. And welcome back to another episode of the New Generation Challenge podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Brett Parnell.
And I'm Titi Fernandez.
And Titi, welcome back. We missed you last week, but glad you were having an amazing time in Mexico.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a sunburn going on my shoulders and my
Oh
back,
no.
but yeah, it was really, really fun. We had a really good time. The wedding was amazing. So, yeah, that
Great
was
to
great.
hear. And we are now back talking about the challenge for a couple weeks before it's me on vacation. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, you guys chose to listen to a podcast that's hosted by two people who never stay in one place.
It's because I feel like we got you week. You leave in, so you'll be here next week, but the one after that, you're gone.
I'll be here next week, and if we can record on the Thursday again, I'll be here the one after that. I'll be gone
Oh,
for the next
perfect.
two.
Oh, it's fine because then we'll figure it out. We can pick it
Yeah.
back up with the
We'll
reunion and
probably
stuff.
just do like one episode when I get back of the final instead of
Yeah.
having to do it in two parts. Not a big
And
deal.
then we can talk about the reunion the
Yeah,
week after when it ends.
exactly.
But yeah, what did you think overall of the episode? I think this was probably one of the best episodes we've had in
Yeah,
a very long time.
this was definitely the best episode of the season. Other than 40, it's probably the best episode going back to like War of the Worlds.
I agree.
Um, 40 had some really good episodes in there with that stacked cast, but
Yeah, I think 40 had some really good episodes, but at the same time, I feel like we didn't get like the cast was so big that it was hard to see more chaos
yeah,
that's like between people that are more involved with each other, if that makes sense.
absolutely.
Um,
Um, but yeah, this
but
one
yeah,
was amazing. So much going on. You can see now we've hit that point that I've kind of been hinting at. Are we there yet? Are we not at there yet? For the last couple of weeks, we've hit that point where it's gone from everyone's thinking about being in the next week to everyone's thinking about winning.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and we'll get more into that later. But the episode starts off with Theo and Adrian coming back from their fourth elimination win this season. Very impressive that they have gone into so many eliminations and been able to win all of them. What did you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. The two of them are definitely still here in the running to go all the way, despite all the odds being against them. Theo's clearly been one of the top males, probably the top in elimination. Adrienne's been a very big addition to the season. I'm not sure if I'm leaning towards her or Sydney as female rookie of the year, but it's got to be one of the two of them easily.
Yeah, for sure. I think Adrian, we've not only seen her like compete well in the dailies, but she's shown that she's able to adapt a lot. And I feel like that's one thing that like with Sydney, we've seen her in one elimination, but we pretty much her skills are like displayed throughout. And I think Adrian is able to adapt some of more of the weird themes and weirder things going on, or when Theo doesn't listen to her, she's able to kind of pick up that slack, which we haven't seen Sydney in that position this season yet. So I agree, it's definitely between the two of them for sure.
Yeah. Then after that, we get Nani going into confessional, talking about how she's never won yet, but she really is finding she has good chemistry with Justin as her partner, and that it might be their year. For my fellow Canadians, I call this Toronto Maple Leafs fan energy, or for Americans, Dallas Cowboy fan energy. Nani is not winning this season against all of these top
And
players.
it's the thing that you hear, at least I don't really know about the Maple Leafs, but um it's what you hear every single year from
Yeah,
her of like this is finally it, this, that, and the other. And I think a lot of people, the season that she had the best chance to win, she was paired with Ben on Ride or Dies. And I don't know, thing with All Stars last year, we were hearing this is it. Turbo's going to get Nani a win. At this point, seeing how, which her and Justin have competed very well together, but seeing the other pairs at this point in the game, since at the start of this episode, we know it's always four teams in the final. Like, we don't even have to speculate on that. It's been like that for years. I don't, so like let's say there's two eliminations. I don't see them beating pretty much any team except maybe Theo and Adrienne because Theo's kind of struggling with some endurance
Yeah,
this season.
very true.
So I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah,
Just to fill you in of where I was coming from. Um, Up here in the Canadian media, Toronto fans always say they're going to win the Stanley Cup every single year. The playoffs start. It's like,
hmm
this is our year, guys. It's like, you haven't won since 1967. There was six teams in the league then.
Well, yeah, and same thing with the Cowboys. They're like, this is
Yeah.
their year. They're gonna be good, and they really never are.
No.
Um, But yeah, Jeremy comes back from or Jeremy comes to Cedric and he kind of is doing that little chat. Let me just assure him that like I've been this whole season, this, that, and the other. And Cedric is actually very smart about this and he's not buying it.
Yeah.
He explains that the only reason that Jeremy's talking to him is because all of his alliance went home and now it's like now you want to make deals with me. Now you want to say, oh, we've had each other's thing when they haven't necessarily worked against each other, but it's not like they were, um, it's not like Michaela and Cedric were Jeremy's number one priority.
Yeah. Michaela and Cedric have worked side by side a lot of teams, but I don't think Michaela really does alliances well. She's just very strong in her own self and will do what she has to do to win, which is amazing. But a lot of these teams have, whichever side they're on, have better relationships with each other than that team has with anyone.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Michaela's gameplay a little bit later in
Sure.
the episode because I actually found a lot of it pretty interesting. So I don't want to get too far in, but it's interesting that he's just not, he's very smart for not buying it. I will give
Yeah.
him that. Yeah, I'm glad that, or I wish he would have been more vocal about it. Like, not really say, no, I don't got you, but in a way, kind of hint of like, hey, by the way, I'm not like in this 100% because then it could come back and bite him in the ass if Jeremy comes back and says, Cedric was telling me that we got each other, this, that, and the other, when in reality, like Cedric explained, it's just because they were on their way out.
Yeah. Absolutely. So then we go to the daily and we're playing Dark Mine. This was fun to see. The players have to race into a dark mine um, that obviously is not functional anymore. And this mine shaft they're in is infested with all sorts of different insects. And they have to race until they get to a table where there's a bingo sheet of numbers. And essentially, this is what I call playing bingo with fire. Um,
Yeah, this was not. I was literally sitting there and I was like, you could not pay me to do this. I don't even like when I'm lighting candles, I don't use matches. I'm scared. Like people are like, "Oh, you have to hold it down for it to strike," but then and I'm like, "No, no, no. I don't I'm not going to get burnt, you know? I can't even imagine not just it, but then also having to hold it until it burns
yeah,
off."
that was
Yeah,
scary to watch, but
this looked awful to me.
it did.
I
Especially when you get some of these people who are like so desperate to win a daily and not get put in elimination that they'll hold on to it when they know it's too long to hold on to it for.
Yeah, and we even got Justin and Theo both saying that they were pyromaniacs um and wanted to or they were excited about it, but I think they all realized the matches were very, very small and it was a very
Yeah,
hard challenge, it looked
it
like.
looked extremely hard. Also, that kind of would be unnerving now to know that you're living with two people who were teenage pyromaniacs.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly. Um, and then we kind of get Turbo and Sydney are having some difficulty. Turbo gets a little bit or Sydney gets a little bit frustrated because Turbo's breaking the matches, and they're also having trouble with kind of the language barrier. I
Yeah.
think I don't know if Turbo wasn't able to kind of understand like the letters that they were saying, maybe because I know that letters in different languages can sometimes sound like other letters when you're just saying them out loud. Like I know in Spanish, their I is E, and
Yeah.
obviously in English, things like that. So I can see maybe that could be
It's
difficult.
funny that you bring that up because in regards to the spelling of Sophie on Survivor, I mentioned that to Bruce just a few days ago when we were recording this show, the show.
I need to grab a drink.
Fair
I'll
enough.
bring this with me though.
Titi will be back. I will continue having mine.
Well, I just kept seeing you drinking. I was like, I can't be missing out.
But yeah, well, she's gone. This challenge was just nerving the whole time. Certainly very complicated, but amazing from a television perspective to watch how much they were putting into it amongst really all the teams, not just the team that ends up winning, but even like Michaela and Cedric, who end up coming in last in this place, did everything they possibly could to do as best as they possibly could. Probably just quit a little too early.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. Welcome back. I was just
Uh,
saying when you were gone that the really with how complex this challenge was, I think it's probably even just in a case that Michaela and Cedric just stopped playing a bit too early. They
yeah.
certainly gave it everything that they had to. It wasn't like they did a bad job, even though they came in last.
Yeah, and I think also with Michaela's injury, um, they kind of were like, we need to get out of here and not like make sure nobody sees that because we all know like even though Michaela's a badass and she could probably beat a lot of the girls even with a broken ankle,
Yeah,
she knows that it puts a really big target on your back.
yeah, absolutely. Um,
Um, did you
so
talk about, sorry, Theo and Adrienne
no, go ahead.
falling? That made me laugh so hard.
Yes,
Like it was so funny, and then I felt bad for laughing, but then I was like, no, this is really, really funny.
sometimes things can be both painful and funny at the same time when you're seeing them on TV.
Exactly.
Um,
Uh,
so Michaela gets injured and rolls her ankle, but she still gets up and finishes the challenge. Um, I'm curious to see how this could have a lasting impact on the season, knowing that we're almost done. 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, I stepped off of a bus the day of the first snowstorm and completely rolled my ankle, and it was hurting for like 2 weeks.
yeah, that sounds awful. I've rolled my ankle before, most of the time drunk. Um, like every time I wear shoes, like boots that have on them, I always end up snapping my ankle.
Oof.
Gotten some bruises from it, but
But hey, the
yeah,
time
they're
I did it, I got to call the airline and claim that I was needing medical assistance. So I was rolled my ankle and then flew to Cancun about 12 hours later.
that's so funny. Did
So
you get
I'm
the wheelchair?
no, I just needed to be have like that ankle on the side where it was the aisle, so I had more space.
Ah, interesting.
And they're like, "Yeah, that's no problem." And then she must have put some note in my file because it was a mid lockdown flight, and
Mm,
the plane was like pretty empty because it's Canada to Mexico in the middle of
yeah.
lockdown. So they're like, you can just sit in premium if you want. I'm like,
Oh, wow, that's
nice.
nice. But Theo did not remember that there was letters to remember. And this is just it just summarizes their whole partnership of like Adrienne being like, you need to listen to me, you need to listen to me. Like attention to these things, like listen to me, do this, do that, and then he's just kind of like in La La Land sometimes and not.
Yeah,
It
we
was
tend
funny
to
to
get that
see.
a bit from a few players this season.
Mm-hmm. Um, but Sydney and Turbo actually won this challenge.
Yeah, Sydney
After,
very smartly figures out both that if you're not communicating with each other and just communicating with the number reader, which is a voice recording, that
mm-hmm.
you might be able to do better. And she also figures out those patterns in these sets of numbers. I don't know about in the States, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's similar. In Canada, you have to sometimes do these kind of like pattern testing for law school applications. So it makes perfect sense that she
Mm,
would have picked that out to me. I don't think we've ever had. I know it's always a big story every year on Survivor, like lie about the fact that you're a lawyer. It's like Sydney's got to be the first actual practicing lawyer to be on the challenge because usually this show started with like 20-year-old kids.
yeah. But also, like I know IQ tests are pattern recognition. When she was recalling them back, I was like, because I, not trying to like brag, but I took an IQ. I have a 129 IQ, which is pretty
Nice.
high,
Yeah.
but it's all pattern recognition. That's all. That's all it is. But
I have a really funny story to tell you now when the podcast ends,
okay,
but I don't want to repeat it here because some people listening might know who I'm talking about.
that's funny. But um, yeah. So like when she was numbers that she recalled back, I screen because I'm like trying to see like obviously we didn't get to probably hear all the numbers and whatever, but I don't know how much of a pattern there was. Maybe like what she meant also was because I think in the beginning they did not know that the letter corresponded to which row you should be looking at. And if you think about it, a little match with a big sheet of paper, you're probably not going to be able to see the whole paper,
Yeah.
like only small sections of it. So I don't know. It was definitely a hard challenge. And it ended with Michaela and Cedric being the pair that had the least amount correct. So they were automatically into the elimination.
Yeah.
First time we saw them.
Yeah. First time we see them in should be interesting. Just to get some new players in there. I think this is one of the rare seasons that it's like at this point, has anybody not been in elimination? I don't think so.
Um, because yeah, we saw Jeremy go in, Olivia's gone in,
Yeah.
Will has not gone in
Well, he
because
goes in.
Olivia went
He
in
goes in
by
today.
herself. But like before,
No, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, as
Nani
of
has
this
not gone
point,
in.
that's true.
Nani has not gone in.
There you go. I just know it's
Um,
always controversial at the end when people say, "Oh, this person never went in and they won the final," and it's like it always happens. We might get to a point by the final that everybody's earned their spot in the final, if that's the logic
yeah.
someone wants to use.
Yeah, I'm trying to think on 40, we saw everybody go into elimination, right? All the finalists.
Yeah,
Because it was Bananas went in, or no, Derek Chavez did not go in.
that's right.
So he was able to do that. I mean, I think as a player, you should never try to go into
Yeah,
elimination.
I
Like,
agree.
as
I
a
don't think
viewer, it's a different story. But
I
like,
don't
if I
think
was
it
playing,
matters, but people in the online world seem to think it does.
yeah. And I mean, I get it though. Like, it is like entertainment wise, and I don't necessarily like, I feel like as a viewer when you're like, yeah, I don't think the same person should keep going into elimination, they should all have to go in. You can have that opinion, but also like if I was like advising someone on how to play the game if
Yeah,
they've never heard it, I would be like, do not do it, you know?
absolutely. I think
Um
too the big difference could be, and tell me what you think, but maybe it's not so much what we see online is that people really believe everyone should have to go in, but it's that for a few seasons in a row was just predetermined as the Vacation Alliance will never go in.
mhm.
So therefore people got kind of pissed off with them.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily like the idea of like the red skull either.
Yeah.
Because it just like it always. ends up in like the winner wants to go in and then they're picking and choosing who they get to go in against.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily like that idea either.
And then if you get
Um,
it too early, you're just kind of having everyone target you because you have one and someone else doesn't. And
yeah, and like instead of seeing who are they going to put into the elimination, like, oh my God, you're betraying this person, it's like you want to be put in the elimination because you want to get a skull.
yeah, exactly.
So it's not as entertaining. But anyways, after the daily, Michaela explained that she feels more confident going into elimination against any girl in the house instead of a final. And this is what I wanted to talk about because we've been critical on Michaela a few times, like
Yeah.
not being very nice. But I honestly, like, I respect her gameplay so
Oh,
much.
absolutely.
She is such a good competitor and she's able to back it up because like when people say like, "Oh, I'll see you in elimination, this, that, and the other." Michaela, other than losing her first elimination, does very well in
Yeah.
elimination rounds. And
And I
I like
don't
how
even think
she
in that Michaela nor her partner, I forget who it is, nor Michelle had much of an impact on it. Corey just decided he was going to carry everybody on his back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I like how she kind of is like, I'm coming in and she's not I want to go up against the best. I want to do this, that, and the other. She said, these are the people that beat me up the mountain. Those are the people that I want to see in the elimination.
Yeah.
Um, then we get Nani and Michaela. They kind of start to tell Aviv, like, yeah, Theo and Adrienne, let's doing the same thing. But then you see what happened there.
We see right before they do that Aviv's being plotted against when she's not in the room.
Yes. And then we see Michaela goes up to Olivia and Theo and Adrienne and says, I'm expecting 3 votes to go for Aviv and Jeremy. Let's make the final a little bit easier on us. And they were very surprised about that because obviously this whole season she's been voting against them, but I think this was the smart move. I
Yeah.
really do. And I think Michaela she does a really good job at having an alliance, but she's not becoming best friends with the people that she knows she's gonna throw in.
Yeah.
Because we see someone like Nani and Aviv that they got very, very close, but then it's like a big shock, like, oh my God, you were my best friend, you were this, that, and the other. So she's in the group to the point where they're working together, but it's not a big surprise that she wants to go against you.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It's definitely the right move, at least as the teams lie at the beginning of the episode. We'll get into that, but um, Jeremy and Aviv are just such a strong team that you can't, and both of them are probably the two best players here when it comes to something like endurance, which we know the final will be.
Yeah, and I
And this is
think
a final in South America, so odds are it's going to involve mountain climbing, like all the other finals in South America, as opposed to say the ones in Europe.
yeah, or like Vietnam.
Yeah.
Uh, or yeah, that's where it was, right?
Philippines. Vietnam was the season, but then they moved to the
Oh yeah,
Philippines
yeah.
for the final.
Well, yeah, I think they do geography based. We've learned that,
Yeah.
So 40 we got a lot of swimming. Uh and then we see Sydney does not want Cedric to go in.
Yeah.
What did you think of that part?
I was kind of surprised by it. I didn't know that they had anything either way, but I guess it makes sense from a numbers perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting.
There's a lot of
And then
surprising alliances in this episode.
yeah, do you want to get into the next surprising one?
Yeah, Will and Justin are also in an alliance somehow. I guess
Yeah.
maybe this makes a bit of sense that like if Will is hooking up with Nani, that he would have talked strategy with Justin because Justin is her game partner. But I don't think any anyone in the show saw this coming. Sydney's shocked by it.
Yeah, I was trying to think, have we seen, I guess it makes more sense now that we're getting Justin and Nani voting for Theo and Adrienne, like ways and not for Olivia and because I feel like Nani, well, obviously she has the relationship with Will, but I think that kind of caused Will and Justin's alliance to grow more because they knew
Yeah.
we're both in the same boat as in not saying these.
And just something that I picked up while you were gone, but with some photos that popped up online. I
Okay.
almost wonder if maybe that's where the Nani and Ashley alliance comes from. And like really Nani's game as a whole, because a big thing people talk about this season is Nani shifted and she's now not working with the same people as she's always worked with. Nani wasn't at Olivia's baby shower, but Casey was.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, that's
Casey
odd.
might be the one who's closer to Anissa, to Tori, to Devin, therefore now to Michelle, to Olivia within that couple. Or ex
And I
couple, I
think
should say, call it.
I think what it is too is that Katie plays a loyal game and Nani, when she was with Casey and they were playing together, she was kind of forced to play that loyal game.
Yeah,
Is that what we would see if they weren't together? Maybe not. Maybe on
exactly.
Spies and Allies, she would have wanted to vote in someone like Tori.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It's interesting that you mentioned that
But
too.
I thought that I'm like seeing that, sorry, that I'm like maybe looking into future seasons, we can assume that even if the vets come back, that Nani and Tori won't work together in 42 the way they did in 37 or 38.
Yeah, and I think it also depends on if someone like Devin is there
Yeah.
because um like if Devin's there, we know Bananas will probably be there
Yeah.
and even though they probably have all made up in real life and they were hanging out, Bananas and Devin were hanging out at Kyle's wedding, you could also see Challenge Beef coming back.
Yeah. But then now in Nani's case, she's kind of stuck because if she was going to go join Banana's alliance, then she's working with Aviv again, who will never trust her.
Yeah, I wonder who do you think Bananas would pick between those two?
Aviv.
I was like my first reaction would be Nani because like they've known each other for so
Yeah.
long, but I think like Aviv lives in Florida, that's where
Yeah.
Bananas lives too. And we've seen how like close they are in real life, like
I
they hang
think a
out.
big portion of it too would come down to if Jenny's on the season,
Really. Do you think
because
oh Jenny would
she
advocate for Aviv? Yeah.
exactly. If your Banana is talking about I'm not only in an alliance with Aviv, but I'm also in an alliance with probably the strongest girl in this house.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Jenny would trust, say, working with Nani in the same way. She might take some of her friends over Johnny she was forced to pick.
Yeah, but I also don't think we're gonna see Jenny again.
You know, interesting.
Um, well, I mean, we saw her win Total Madness. She
Yeah,
didn't call until 40.
she was
And
she was an on-set alternate for Spice Lies and Allies.
sorry, scared me.
Oh
There's a bird. No,
no,
I think you're confused. No, because now that you say, I think she was a alternate on site for World Champions,
interesting.
or maybe it was Spies and Allies too. But I don't know. I don't think that production finds her as interesting,
Fair enough.
so I don't think we're gonna see her back very soon.
Makes
Um,
sense.
maybe. Anyways, so the big thing that
Just
kind of cascade. So what were you gonna say?
I was
Sorry.
just gonna say, just speaking of Jenny, she was with Olivia and Michelle and Devin, and
I
then this
know.
weekend that was interesting.
I remember I texted because you're like, "Oh, Jenny's flying in to go," and I said, "Jenny? Why would she be there?" Sorry, not trying to be mean, but they didn't really get along in the season. It
Yeah,
does look
but
like
I
they
think a
had.
lot of that has to do probably more with Johnny, so maybe they edited out. a lot that we didn't see
Do
personally and not
we
strategically.
do we think I was kind of wondering this, you'll have to let me know what you think. Do we think that there was any filming for the baby shower?
It's possible.
Because I don't know, to me, like, yes, they probably got closer after the season, but it was never that close. We haven't
Yeah.
seen them hang out. So I found that kind of odd. Um, Same with Casey because we saw that they were like kind of by proxy because like Olivia's friends with Anissa,
Yeah.
Anissa's friends with Casey type of thing. But you don't really see too much of them hanging out or
No.
anything. So
Well,
it did
there's
make me wonder.
potential some new alliances for 42, at which we know Olivia and Theo won't be there, but they could have brought some new people together to carry on the alliance this season.
Yeah, and I'm really glad Olivia said she absolutely plans to come back to the challenge after she has her baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
She said probably 43 she'll um but anyways, getting back to this episode, we get a scene where Nani decides to go up to Aviv and tell her, "Hey, I'm really sorry, but I have to and Jeremy into the elimination."
Bad move, bad move, bad move.
Yes. I'm interested to hear your thoughts about this a little bit later when we
Sure.
talk more, because I was,
Go ahead.
yeah. No, I'm gonna say that. Because then I'll go into a tangent and we'll get too far ahead. Turbo thinks this is dishonorable, and he said Nani's family to me, but at the same time, like, I don't agree with her doing this. And the reason why he doesn't agree with it is because Nani's reasoning is, I don't want to go in against them during a um necessarily like I'm not working with you or whatever. The whole reason is I don't think I can beat you, which is interesting because we've seen Nani like in many other finals go into finals without voting in people that beat her
Yeah,
many times. So that was an interesting thing to me.
absolutely. That was. Um, I also, though, would say at the same time, yes, we've seen Nani beat Aviv, but I think everybody is probably scared shitless of Yomi in a final.
You mean not Aviv and a daily or what?
No, I'm just saying the whole house probably doesn't want to see Yomi in a final with anybody.
Yeah, he's an ultra marathon
Yeah, and a former U.S. Navy SEAL.
Muslim. Yeah, and so is said and Will or Marines.
Oh,
So
really?
something, yeah. I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
they mentioned something. But yeah, they're all three army. Um,
Oh, and so was Aviv. So we have some really top level endurance people in this season.
yeah.
That's scary
Not
for
even like
anybody else.
let alone like endurance level, but like mental
Yeah,
toughness. Like you can be in shape, out of shape. Those people, it doesn't matter if they're out of shape, they won't stop.
exactly.
That's what's scary. Um, but moving on to deliberation, we get Jeremy, we have TJ say, okay, we're gonna vote, blah blah blah. Before we vote, does anybody want to stake a claim?
And boom,
And we see Jeremy stands up.
smart move. I think Yomi and Aviv are a very strong team. If I were Yomi, I would not want to break myself up from Aviv because I think the two of them work so well together. But at this spot, it's the fact that they're going to is going to shake up the entire house because when he stands up and claims Olivia, if he can win this challenge, what he's going to end up doing is having one person from his alliance being him, it tied to Olivia, and one person that from her alliance that she was playing with in case of Will being now tied to Aviv. And all alliances will be out the window as we go into the final 2-3 episodes of the season.
See, I think this was I'm in between because part of me agrees with you and says you have such a good team with Aviv. You guys have already won an elimination together. Why, like, like Olivia said, it's giving scared. It's giving I'm scared to go in the sand. Like, I need to do something. But on the other hand, it does bring up, like he said, he was citing CT and said that people use you and abuse you, then until they figure out that you have an element of I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Um, and I think not only I don't think Jeremy's just looking at this season and making it to the final. I think he's also looking at I need to do something that's going to make me stand out, not just as an Horacio. Like
yeah,
he, you know, very
absolutely.
good competitor, but we don't see that. We still need some sort of, you have to have a different element to yourself. And I think he showed that he's strategic and is able to cause chaos and is able to stand up for himself. But I don't know, maybe this wasn't the right choice because you've worked with Aviv all season long, multiple dailies, won an elimination together. Why, why are you curling up into a ball about going into elimination now?
Fair enough. The one thing I think, though, that I would add here to that is we all know that if, like we just talked about Yumi's massive skill set, we
Mm-hmm.
all know if you get to the final, he can just let that rip. In the contrast with that, look at what they're doing in elimination today. Some eliminations are complete crapshoots. And he could have just as easily found himself out of the game if he goes in the sand. So I think by the time you've got to like the last couple eliminations, if you can avoid the sand, do it at all costs.
Yeah.
Because we've seen an elimination, yes, this was All Stars, but where two legends of this game, Rachel Robinson and Caramulia Sobello, are throwing stars at dartboards of each other. And something like that could happen that could kill you a game when you're going, if I only made it one more week, I would have won the whole show.
Couple words. I'll add to that when we get to players of the week.
Okay, fair enough.
Because then I'm not going to have anything to talk about.
Okay.
So we get that. He says he's using the CT Pro tip, but Nani gets very, very mad at Aviv because of this. I don't I don't think Nani has a leg to stand on.
Yeah. I mean, if you tell somebody that you're going to vote them in and that therefore we're not even going to flip a coin, that they're automatically going in because you're about to turn on them, why should you be mad that they tried to make an alternative move to get you in?
Absolutely. And it's like that, yes, 100%. Somebody tells you that they're voting you in, do something about it if you can. But at the same time, like Aviv was under the impression that Nani wasn't going to vote her in.
Yeah,
So I also see this, why are you taking this as a betrayal when Aviv was never going to say your name?
right.
So like Nani's kind of saying you betrayed me by making a move out of this, but no, you betrayed me by deciding that you were going to vote me in to advance yourself in the game.
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, Jeremy stakes the claim on Olivia. They do their race and puzzle, and Jeremy comes out with a win against Will.
Yomi is
So
almost done the puzzle when Will gets to the top.
yeah,
This wasn't even close.
no, not at all. And I was
And
very
if
surprised about that.
and if the final is consists of races followed by puzzles in the middle of the race, like it normally does, that's kind of what I was saying. I envision the men's final going the exact same way. Or I guess not the men's final, but because they're in teams now. But
Mm-hmm.
Yomi and Olivia will probably run away from it if we get a final that matches these same skill sets on a much bigger level.
Yeah. Another reason why it did surprise me because obviously we know Olivia has really good endurance. Um, just Will says.
Yeah.
And we know Aviv's strong suit is like running. She is such a good runner. She was only behind Sydney in the up the mountain.
Yeah.
Or maybe Because I know Izzy won going up the mountain. Was it Sydney next and then Aviv?
Yeah,
Or backwards? Something like that.
one of them.
But yeah, so then we get the new partnerships and we get a revote. And then this is kind of where the chaos starts to peak because we find out that Nani made a deal with Theo and swore on her mother and said that she would not vote him and Adrienne in. So she votes for Aviv and Will. And
Like I
this makes
said,
Will
another alliance that's
very
just
upset.
shocking to everyone, including me. They did not
Yeah,
show us this happen at the Daily.
this was very odd to me because why do you even like if she would have read the room a little bit more and been like, okay, they're gonna try to go vote in someone like Sydney Turbo, Michaela Cedric, Jeremy, and Aviv before they're gonna try to vote me and Justin.
Yeah,
So like you shouldn't even have to like make that deal if you're thinking strategically about out of like if it's between me or those four, those people are gonna vote for those four before they're
yeah,
gonna vote for me.
very true. The
So I
one
think
way it does sort of make sense, though, is that I think both of these teams would probably rather see each other in the final
yes.
than some of the other teams.
But I think she didn't need to make a deal
Yeah, fair.
because we've also seen that like there people aren't coming for Nani and Justin. Like they're
Yeah,
voting for other teams before they're voting for them. So I think if she would have had more like if she would have taken a step back and been like, okay, let me like think about this, she would have noticed and realized that she didn't need to make this deal with Theo because
yeah,
they weren't coming for her
absolutely.
anyways. But yeah, so she votes in for Aviv and Will because they also couldn't vote in Jeremy and Olivia because Justin had said he wouldn't vote for Jeremy,
Yeah,
which I thought that was interesting. What do you think of that?
yeah, that was also interesting. Um, Especially with how much. I mean, there was so much going on at this point within
Mm-hmm.
all of these votes that the fact that you had two new teams and they never had time to plan and so many inter-team relationships just really made this a mess.
Yeah, I didn't. I am glad that she does respect her partner enough to be like, okay, we're not doing this or whatever. Um, because I could see her trying to strong arm Justin into voting in Jeremy and Olivia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so we get a tie, second tie. So then we have to do a coin flip
I'm so
between.
confused by this. Why are we
Okay,
doing coin flips on ties? TJ should just go in the kitchen and make Sydney and Turbo break it. It would have
yeah,
been so much better. Who came up with this idea?
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because I was thinking
Like,
about
we
it
have a team
more.
that's not in the elimination, that's not voting just because they won. You should.
I think so. I was thinking about that, like why the coin flip, but the only reason why I think people probably prefer it is because in the past we've seen that sometimes winning a daily is a disadvantage because you're putting a target on yourself by
Yeah.
having to say another team's name and voting them in.
Uh,
Like in other seasons where the winners decide who goes
yeah.
into elimination, those people come back. Well, that sucks because now they're coming after you. So I think it is an advantage in the way that the winners are free from making any enemies
Yeah, that
in
makes
the
sense.
game. But yeah,
I
I
definitely
don't
don't like it
understand
when
what.
it's like the winner just chooses, because usually that coincides with the season where last place doesn't mean you're in, and that always defeats the purpose of the challenge. But
Yeah,
we're getting
I
a
don't
house
know.
vote and a winner vote, and then it's like too many votes that just allow the same 8 people to run 5 seasons straight.
Yeah, I agree. Um, so yeah, Nani and Will end up fighting about that. But we get
This
into the
relationship is over.
What'd you say?
I said this relationship is over.
Hopefully. Well, then he got with Anissa.
Yeah, I heard that after.
Finally, we get to the elimination. This was really one of the worst eliminations I've seen ever, and by far the worst when it's coming down to the final 6 teams.
Yeah,
This is
it
not an
was
elimination I want.
definitely not an elimination for the final six. But was I ever laughing the whole time watching it? I never thought I would see two people trying to solve a puzzle in an airline bathroom that I barely fit in on my own.
Yeah, they basically just had to solve 2 puzzles
Yeah. But
in the bathroom.
Michaela sure got lucky. It wasn't something that involved her to be sturdy on her feet.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, there's no chance that Michaela and Cedric come back. And in this case, spoiler alert, they're coming back.
Yeah, especially if she's going against Aviv.
Yeah.
Who's a very good like runner on her feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of anticlimactic, but Aviv and Will go home.
Yeah. And they were a team for like 5 hours.
Yeah, something like that. But for my player of the week, male, I chose Jeremy. So this we're getting more into it. Um, because I think he made a brilliant move and showed that he's not just a good competitor, but is also strategic. And this, like I said, he's kind of realizing, like, okay, I need to do something that's not just gonna make me look like I know how to run, you
Yeah.
know? Um, so like entertainment value and being strategic, which he wants to lock in that callback in the
Yeah.
future.
Very true. I also went with Yomi Player of the Week. I mean, how could you not? He was set to go into elimination, played a big move, messed up every single alliance in the house other than Turbo and Sydney, who are just laughing their ass off at all the craziness is ensuing, and manages to pull it off successfully and avoids elimination himself. Unfortunately for his partner, Aviv, she goes home. But sometimes you have to do those kind of things to save yourself and get to the final. And if Yomi is able to convert that into a win, it's probably going to be a top tier move in not only the season, but challenge history.
Yeah. For my female, I went with Aviv. She had a great season.
Yeah,
Number
she
one
did.
to pick. And I think I do have respect for her and Jeremy to kind of make a plan of like, we want at least one of us to be able to get into that final or very likely to get into that final. Um, so like at best case scenario, they both would get to go into the final. Worst case scenario, only one of them would. And I don't know, I'm happy that she was able to kind of work through that of Nani saying, "Hey, I'm voting you in," and then turn that into at least one of us will be able to get out of there without leaving.
Yeah, absolutely. For my female, I went with Sydney here. She was able in the daily to completely take over the challenge when clearly Turbo was struggling. Um, Pick up on things that not only her partner but nobody else on the cast picked up on and converted into a win. That guaranteed her and Turbo's safety in a week where players started to go for big threats. And if there's anything that we would call Turbo and Sydney, it's a big threat in this game. So if they didn't win, I think people would have been talking about them. And instead of the house talking about Sydney's needing to go into elimination, as we kind of see in the preview, that it looks like some of the vets don't necessarily respect her coming over from Survivor. I mean, we've already seen that with Michelle. We've seen that with Natalie Anderson. don't really respect the way she plays the game, which Sydney is a totally different player from anybody that we've seen play this game before.
Mm-hmm.
But she was able to get herself to that step further where now she's probably 1 week away from being in a final as a rookie, which is not easy to do.
Yeah, and a very big contender to win for sure.
And I am,
Um,
as someone who's been a fan of Sydney since Survivor 41, I am really looking forward to seeing what happens with this Nani Sydney fight that we see in the preview. Because I can guarantee you one thing: you do not want to cross Sydney and be on the wrong side of her.
yeah, see, I'm curious about that because we know Sydney is more of a confessional person, as she's like said before. So I wonder how she's gonna react
Yeah.
to a crazy person going up to her face to face, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but loser of the week. So
We
for
both agree
male,
here, so we'll just talk about it
talk about it
together.
later. Yeah.
But
Will's temper tantrum.
yeah,
Also saying Olivia is slow as shit.
yeah.
Hello?
What?
But I do admire that he
No, can I just make a correction? Will, you are slow as shit as opposed to Jeremy in that stake a claim challenge.
and you lost twice. You
Yeah.
lost the brace up the mountain and you lost your elimination. So who's the loser? Uh I will say he's a lock for many seasons to come.
Yeah.
Very entertaining, and I really do hope we see him again in the future
I do too,
because
despite me just criticizing him a second ago. Um
see, but that's what we want to see. We want to see entertaining
it
people.
is. And I do agree that he should be a lock for future seasons of the show. Will was very athletic, confrontational, hooked up on the show. I
Whore.
mean,
Is that what you're gonna say?
no, I was not. You said it.
Well,
but
I can say it.
but no, he was a great addition to the show, and also what can I say? I mean, sitting here in Ottawa, he not only came on the season as a rookie, but was tied for the first Canadian to ever be on the show. So I hope him and Leka continue to represent my country proudly in future seasons, as we've seen with the Brits, the Australians, the Spanish, in other shows, Turkey, Germany. Like, Canada's
Yeah,
been missing from this franchise, and we're finally here with,
surprisingly,
yeah,
you would
surprisingly.
think. Yeah, first male for sure. First male challenger. Um, then Nani, because so this is where I wanted to say she got caught up. And it really surprised me that somebody who's such a seasoned veteran in the show, who's done so many seasons, who is yet to win, started playing messy. And this is what we saw with Josh on USA 2 right before he got eliminated before the final. It's the making these side deals and running around like a squirrel because you want to make sure that you make it to the final, but then those things catch up with you and you I mean she's still in the game now, but there's still another elimination and we don't know what's going to happen at that
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. You're completely right. Also, one other thing that I just added here is that I think Nani is maybe getting to the point, and not only from what we see in the preview, because we'll talk about that next week, but like even what we see in the first 30 seconds of this episode
Mm-hmm.
is getting to the point that she's maybe a little too full of herself at this point of the game, and assuming that, oh, I've been part of this franchise for so many years that I deserve to win. No, you deserve to win when you win.
Exactly. You don't deserve to win because you've done X amount of seasons.
Yeah.
Like nobody deserves to win. That's
No.
something that you do.
Like, and
So,
yes, we'll get to it next week, but just because everybody here is playing the challenge. You might not like the way that they're playing the challenge, but Sydney is not playing Survivor. I mean, she was probably the most production screwed player in the history of Survivor, and I don't think that that ship has sailed. She's more, I've always said, probably a better fit for this franchise.
yeah, and we'll have to see if she hopefully changes her mind and does more seasons in the future because I'd love to see her back.
Yeah, at
But
first she
another
said,
thing,
At first she said no, but then a couple weeks later she said online that, oh yeah, I'll consider it. So I think it was like before the Turbo drama aired that she maybe didn't really want to be part of this anymore. But once that got out and she saw a more positive reaction, I think she's okay with coming back. Obviously, her job is the most important, but
And I will say it's interesting that what we saw about this isn't Survivor because I just realized this when you said that, not saying that she deserves this because she's so many years, this, that, and the other. But the challenge, the big difference from Survivor, it's not a popularity contest. It's not about, it's about how you in the challenge. You can win every single immunity challenge and you still don't, it doesn't mean that you're going to win the game.
yeah,
So I think, if anything, she's contradicting herself because, like, Sydney is playing a game of the challenge because she's performing and doing and winning.
yeah,
If
absolutely.
anything, you're not playing a challenge game because you're not winning. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
very true.
Yeah. Very interesting episode.
It was.
I'm really excited for next week.
So am I. And yeah, I will be here next week. I'll be here the week after that as well. Um, we'll figure out what we want to do for the final, but I'm going to Thailand.
That's so
But
exciting.
then when we come back, I'll have a lot to say.
Yeah. I'd love to hear it. Oh my God, I just was playing with scissors and cut my hand.
Oh no.
We should probably,
Well, I just want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll be back with the last little bit of this season in the next few weeks.
yeah. Thank you, everybody, for
Bye.
listening.